up. Here to set the record straight from British Columbia is the Regional Chief of the Assembly of First Nations, Chief Terry Teegee. Chief Teegee joins us in Prince George. He represents the 204 First Nation communities in BC. Chief, thank you for being with us.
Good afternoon.
Now, does this dispute really come from a court case 23 years ago that was never accepted by Canadian business, politicians? Is this really at the core of this, that your people feel their legal rights were overlooked?
Yes, I think part of the issue here is outstanding land question issues, in particular with the Wet'suwet'en, the Delgamuukw Stay Away court case that was decided upon by the Supreme Court of Canada 23 years ago. And as a result of that case, it did recognize that First Nations have rights. First Nations have to really assert, in many respects, I think this is the Wet'suwet'en asserting their rights, title, and interest to their territory, and that was never properly resolved with the federal or provincial government, and I think the repercussions are the fact that development within the Wet'suwet'en territory comes under question by the Wet'suwet'en, especially when they're not being addressed properly.
And so the Wet'suwet'en have triggered now, coast to coast, a national rail shutdown, 1,000 layoffs by Via Rail, countless businesses, millions and millions of dollars stalled up. Did they anticipate that the country could face this kind of a crisis? And is it a bad PR problem for First Nations now?
Well, I'm not sure if they anticipated the support that they've gained. This is an issue that began well over a year ago in January of 2019. Even before that, when the certificate was awarded by the province of BC by the previous Liberal government in 2014, this issue has been ongoing for a number of years. I recall even when the original proposals, there were many proposals by many different oil and gas companies for pipelines along a similar route, which began in 2015. So 15 years ago, that we knew, that government knew, and companies knew that there was issues not only with the Wet'suwet'en but with other First Nations issues. So with some of the development. In regards to the support they've gained, I'm not too surprised, because if you look at history, sometimes we have to come together as First Nations and support each other, and whether it's similar situations such as the Wet'suwet'en or the Oka crisis back east, there becomes a time that perhaps there's an opportunity to deal with these outstanding land issues. And perhaps we should use this as an opportunity to deal with this long historical denial of First Nations rights, title, and interests.
Wow, so it sounds like, from your perspective, you all saw this train coming, that there was going to be an impasse over the lack of respect and on the land claims being honored, and this is it. And now we're broken.
Well, I'm not sure that we're broken. I think some of the demands aren't too outlandish from the Wet'suwet'en. Is the ask for the RCMP to vacate the area and to begin discussions with the provincial and federal government, and really what would result out of those discussions, I'm sure, is a pathway forward. And I don't think that the Wet'suwet'en are too unreasonable. It's a long-standing issue. These issues have since Confederation 152 years ago. These issues.
So the way forward then is for the RCMP to leave, and will it take the Prime Minister to sit down with them personally there in their territory?
Well, if it's a Prime Minister and Premier Horgan, sure, or their officials to come to the table in good faith. I mean, the last 23 years since the Delgamuukw Stay Away court case, I suppose at least from what I know, is that there hasn't been good faith negotiations. So here we are, we're at an impasse, and now we've inherited this situation. So let's deal with it and come to the table and sit. I want really what I would like to see is provincial and federal officials to come to the table and start discussions in regards to this issue.
Okay, very good. And the RCMP have to leave, correct?
That was one of the demands from the Wet'suwet'en, and to vacate the area under question. You're near the Unistoten area, and I don't think that's too unreasonable. But at the same time, I certainly hope that cooler heads prevail, and at some point. The protests will have to stop, the roadblocks will have to stop, and the court litigation will come to an end with a decision. And in the end, even when we do win and our favorable decision, we have to come to the table and negotiate. And that's just a reality out of all these issues that have come to a head time and time again.
Okay, Regional Chief Terry Teegee of the Assembly of First Nations in BC, thank you for informing us on this very important issue facing all Canadians. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. What do you think about today's topic? Let us know in the comments.